Yes.
Yes, okay. Hello, this is, I'm going to call to order the meeting of West Fargo Public Library Board. My name's Tony Stuckel, and I guess we both need to approve the agenda first. Right. And I would like to make a few changes to the order of the agenda. Somebody's got to start in doing this. And I was thinking number in the consent agenda, they should be switched around, I think, because we need to, I'm sorry, not, old business. Should be switched around so that the adopt flexible policy management practices handbook should follow the adoption of the authorization and delegation policy, because you need to do that in order to function with the handbook, as I understand it anyway. And so if we switch those two around, and then I'd like to move number 1 in new business down to be number 4. We bump that all the way down to the bottom and end that way. Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve with those amendments.
And I'll second it.
Okay, motion is forwarded and approved. Public comment.
Point of order, we need to call for a vote.
Oh, and-
We do discussion and then we can have a vote.
okay, all in favor? Say aye.
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 Nays? None. Okay, move to the public comment section. Are there any?
We've had no requests for public comment.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I thought I'd be sure. Down to the approval of the minutes from last meeting. Is there any discussion of that?
Do we normally approve the consent agenda as a whole, or do we go item by item? How would you like to go item by item?
We could do it that way.
Okay, if that's what you'd like to do. I'll
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve minutes from June 12th.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Yes. Passes. Approval of financial reports.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
And I'll second again.
Okay. Anybody, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? We have none. Passes. I believe we're to old business. So I wanted to, like I said, take those in the order that I thought made sense after I stared at them for a long time. And I thought I maybe understood them, but, so the adoption of policy 101 authorization and delegation of policy approval is the first item then. And is there any, is this one where we need some explanation, I guess, of how this works?
Yep, and Tony, will you make sure that your mic is turned on when you're talking, or that it's a little closer to
Oh,
you?
yes, I thought I'd done that before several times. Is that better?
Maybe it
Much
just
better?
needs to be a little closer. I guess Tyler's having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Very well.
I bet you can.
Tyler, are you able to hear?
Yep, I can hear. Can you guys hear me okay? I didn't know if I was going to come through loud or.
Yep, we can hear you.
Too loud? Okay.
Sorry
Great.
about that. I wasn't holding out on you.
No problem, Tony. All right, I'm here. I'm here with you guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we're on adoption of policy 101, authorization and delegation of policy approval. Is what you were looking for?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's what I wanted a little better understanding of kind of how that worked. There was a good discussion of it. I watched. Sorry, I missed last meeting. I watched the last meeting, and that helped. And then I read the minutes, and that helped some more. But I think I could use a little more help.
Yeah, and Good evening. But I would say that Jenna and I agreed with you that we needed a little bit more clarification to make this more understood as to what exactly you guys were agreeing to, which is why we made the slide that's in front of you now. So all matters, as it says along our right-hand side, all matters related to the governance of the library are solely under the purview of the library board. So those would be those that are listed over in that maroon color, if you will, such as the child and vulnerable adult safety policy, circulation policy, et cetera, down the line. And know that this is not an exhaustive list. We just tried to give you a good chunk of them to give a good idea of what it was. Then we have any policies that have changes that will have financial or legal implications. Those would come before the library board for input, adoption, et cetera, such as our procurement policy, or if we change the leave accrual amounts, travel reimbursement processes or approvals, things of that sort, would all still come to you guys for adoption prior to implementation. And then we have the blue column, which are mostly state and federal policies, to be honest, but they're also the employment policies and other policies without financial or legal well, they have legal implications if they violate them, but they don't have legal implications otherwise. So these are ones that are usually developed by the city in conjunction with our department heads, of which Jenna, as the library director, is considered a department head for us, as far as how we work her into the organization. So when we make these policies, it's not a HR punches out a policy and says, take it as is. It is a collaboration amongst the city with Mr. Scott sitting here with us, has an input to it and such. I know that one of the other things that came up at the last meeting was, how does this, there was a concern that this policy would make it so that, I don't remember the exact verbiage that was used, but that if you had a director that decided they wanted to do something malicious, not Jenna, just a future director, that they would have the power to do so. I just wanted to clarify that they wouldn't. They don't have the ability to write a policy and put it in place without anybody ever looking at it. This policy does not give them that authority. If they wanted to write a policy, depending on which one of these three it would fall under is depending on which course it would follow. If it was an employment law one and they wanted to write a new one specific for library personnel, then she and I would work together on that, or the director and I would work together on that. It would not be a single person is able to push anything through. I would also point out, as was failed to be pointed out last time, that at the bottom of the policy, towards the end of it, I should say, not the bottom, but towards the end of it, it does have a clause in there that at any point, the governing body can choose to call forth a policy for review. So if we did something to the dress code and you're like, I don't think that really fits with our values, our vision for the library, the board would have the right to say, we want to have conversations, presentations, whatever, about that particular policy, and ask myself, Jenna, whomever it might apply to bring that back to you. So I just wanted to add clarifications there.
That helps a lot, yeah.
Jenna, you have anything to add?
I think a little bit of confusion too was where Lexipol comes into play with this too. And so that burgundy column, the policies that are governed by the library board, those are all currently hosted on the library's website to ensure that the public has access to those easily. Those are all still staying there. You don't need to worry about those going away and the public not having access to them. Those are still all staying there as well.
Would they literally be maintained? I mean, they aren't,
Duplicated?
they don't look, they're not linked to one another, are they? So someone's got to go and change one if one changes and keep up, okay?
Typically,
Which-
policy updates are not done that often. Right now, we're seeing a large volume of that because we are moving into the Lexipol for the city.
Okay.
So there's a large volume of it right now. And to be honest, we're not really changing the policies, just a lot of the formatting of how they are laid out. So that's why it seems like there's an influx of it right now. But typically, these things are not changed so regularly, and we would make sure, at least a couple of times a year, we would go through and make sure that they are all still matching. And that's if the library chooses to put these maroon ones on Lexipol as well. There's no obligation to, it's just an efficiency for staff and such to be able to find them.
Okay. Would there be considering they're being viewed by the public now, is there a way for the public to view them if they're there, those ones?
We're working on the access for that for the city itself as well, so
Okay.
that the public would be able to view certain policies, well, any policies really,
Okay.
because they're all open.
Just ask that because it makes sense to not have to try and coordinate two things. I've done that before, and
Until we know how or if it's going to work, I would say for right now, it has to be two. If we
Yeah.
can change that in the future, we'll bring it back to you.
okay. And I'm sure you will, because it'll drive you crazy.
Well, it'll drive her crazy.
Okay. Fair enough. I, by the way, appreciate your doing this, because this is kind of what I was staring at, not very much, trying to figure out, because there were very few examples given, and I understand that situation. You can never think of good examples, but this lays it out a lot better, and you get a better sense of kind of how it works, I think.
Tony, this is Tyler. Just a quick question for Sarah. Good evening, everybody. Sarah, just a couple questions on this. Of course, I'm brand new to the board. Nice to meet you. I apologize that I can't be there today. Threw out my back. I'm only 33, but I guess that can still happen at 33 years old, and it's not very fun. So I've got three questions related to this. The first question is, this was already procured by the city commission, this Lexipol contract?
Yes, so these two agenda items actually kind of, well, they definitely correlate to each other, but they're related. There's no way to really separate them. We could, but that's not our desire for tonight if the board so chooses. So yes, the city has already purchased Lexipol. We've had it technically since last September, but we've been going through the building and the implementation process of our own policies, and that continues to this day. Our police department, however, has had this Lexipol for a couple of years now, like three, give or take, 2-3 years. Sorry, I had to check with Dustin to see about how long. I know it predates me. And so they've already done it, they're very familiar with it and such, and so they're also helping us and the fire department, who is now in it, build ours as well. And so it's a very large but ongoing process.
No problem. Okay, that helps a lot. And my two other ones, the first one, just tell me if this is kind of, if this is a fair characterization of what this Lexipol adoption is really doing. It's just bringing uniformity to the library board and to bring it in line with the other individual divisions, distinct divisions of the city. So everybody's kind of following the same internal employee handbook. Is that kind of what's happening with this adoption?
Yes, to paraphrase Mr. Scott, for when he was presenting it to the city commission, this is a way, right now, our policies for various departments are held in different locations. Mostly electronic, not all, but mostly electronic. And so there will be some on a shared drive, some on an S drive or whatever. And this is our way of bringing all of them into one place so that our employees, and hopefully in the future the public, would have a way to access and say, I want to know about engineering policy, and they could go out there and see an engineering one, and maybe while they're reading that, they're like, oh, well, I want to know how that relates to HR. I have no idea, but they could then also look up the HR one in the same place.
Okay. And that's super helpful. And my last question was kind of buried in what I just asked. Going through the list that we have, child and vulnerable adult safety policy, circulation policy, exhibits policy, cards policy, it really, to me, if I had to categorize this is more of like an internal policy for employees. And most of the ones that are listed are itemized on the Adopt Policy 101 authorization. Those are kind of external facing policies. Is that kind of right? Or would you characterize it that way?
That's a fair assessment. So you weren't at the last one because you weren't a board member yet, so, welcome on
Yep.
that point. And I understand the back thing because my foot is jacked up, and so apparently can happen to all of us.
Yes.
Nonetheless, so in Lexipol, there are what we would call the overarching policies, such as personnel policies, so on and so forth. But there is also chapters, and this is the term that Lexipol uses, that are assigned to each department in the city, of which the library already has one. There's nothing in it, but they have one. And so for those things where, again, using engineering just as a fun example, they could have an engineering policy that only applies to something in engineering. It doesn't apply to all employees, so they would put it into their engineering chapter. We may have a process or a procedure for HR that the rest of the world doesn't care how it's done so long as it is done, and we put that into our HR chapter. So there are different places in that, and so it is a fair characterization to say the governed by the library board ones are your internal controlling of the library and what the library is supposed to do. The green ones are the crossover that, with the way the board and the city interact and are legislatively told to interact, are the gray area. It really should have been a gray box. And then the blue ones are the ones that are your standard personnel ones that, you know, the leave, the benefits, those types of things. The library staff is still considered city employees, and so they have the same benefits and things. Those policies, and ones similar to that, they're not all employment policies, but the large majority of them are. You can see the cybersecurity one is on there. Those policies are for the masses, for the entire city, not a single department.
Perfect. That's super helpful. Thank you. Those are the only questions that I have.
Okay, and to clarify, or maybe to unclarify, I'm not sure what's going to come out of my mouth here. The governed by the library board column are really things that are expected to be done by the library, and probably only the library, I would imagine, and can be changed and upgraded and whatever by the library without having to go somewhere else for approval.
Correct.
Even though they're in Lexipol, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to understand. Do we have any?
Tony, one last question.
Yep.
For Sarah, thank you. I guess my only other question is just for my understanding, because I'm new. Is this an itemized piece of our library board's budget as well, this Lexipol, or is that just all handled at the city commission level?
You know, Tyler, to be 100% honest with you, I do not know. So we have our city administrator, Mr. Scott, with us.
Thank you.
Good evening, library board members. Thank you for the question. Tyler, the answer is yes, the city has already purchased and will be paying for the upkeep and management of this software. I don't recall the exact number off the top of my head, but that was a commitment that the city made. This is really a citywide policy management platform. And while I'm talking, I'm going to just point out a couple other benefits of this software. One, it is a tool that allows us to continually inform and train our employees on our policies. It sends out as frequent as we want training bulletins, as well as is an efficient way of keeping track of changes to federal laws and state laws. So it is a very versatile platform to manage our policies, and like Sarah said, historically we've just been a little bit unorganized with our policies, and there's also been some gaps in where we needed policies. So this has been a holistic approach at getting the city all together on a single platform to manage our policies. And what we are doing with the action item today is recognizing that the library board itself has governance over the library, and so there are policies that will be within the board's purview, and then those that will be a little more of an administrative side of things. So, but the short answer to your question is yes, the city has purchased it, and it is a part of the city's operating budget as of right now, there is no intent to ask the library to help with that expenditure.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I thought I'd thought of something, but it went away.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I appreciate this slide because it really makes a difference to have visually in front of you kind of how it breaks out and who's responsible for what. So, very, very good. We are at a point where I guess we could vote to adopt this aspect of Lexipol and move on to the policy management or the actual adoption of the software itself. Do we need action on this item? We do? Okay. All those who are in favor, say aye.
Well, we need a first and a second, don't we?
Oops, yes, we do.
Okay. We'll make the motion to adopt policy 101, authorization delegation of policy.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. And we have a vote. All those who want to adopt, say aye.
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 Those
Aye.
Those who are against? Okay, I think it sounds like we have passed the policy. Thank you. Now, I guess the key part is adopting the handbook, which is key to using the policy. Are there any questions based on additional thoughts there, or have we covered that in the previous item? I thought that was pretty good.
I was going to say, one more benefit, just to add to Mr. Scott's list as well, is this has a matching procedure manual that goes with it. And so although the policies for the library, you might choose to have them on your website forevermore, this is also a way for the library to be able to house the procedures that go behind those.
Okay.
So another benefit.
And that's a separate,
It's built in. Just
Oh.
if you were to look into the system, it looks like two different little things to click on. One says policies, one says procedures.
oh, okay,
That's it.
okay. Thank you. So are we at a point of voting on this?
You need a motion.
I motion to adopt Lexipro for employee handbook policy management.
And we have,
I'll second.
thank you, we have a second, and those who wish to adopt, say aye.
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 And those, okay, and it looks like we've adopted that, and we've gotten through that. I thought it was going to be more difficult earlier this afternoon, I kept staring at it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
So now we're going to drop down to new business, I think, and down to number 2, discussion of adult services manager role. And I believe that's yours. I think.
Yes, Board. As you're aware, we had a resignation of our adult services manager. Anytime that there's a resignation towards the top of your organizational chart, it's prudent to take a moment to reevaluate whether you want to rehire that position right away, or because it's one of the more expensive positions, especially for an organization like ours, to think about if you want to do something different. And so we do have a meeting scheduled with our management team coming up on July 21st. And we will be having an intentional discussion about how we want to move forward with that position, and I will let you know the results of that discussion.
Okay, that area of adult services is one where I think it's really important for the West Fargo Library as we move onward. We do a roaring children's business, It's less obvious what we do for adults, and I would like to see that kind of brought out a little more. And so hopefully there's some leadership there as we move forward to make that happen.
Yes.
Any other comments, thoughts? Okay, I guess. Unless you had more? Okay, we're moving on to budget update. That's yours too.
All right. I think there's a trick to getting this bigger. The significant changes from the last time we looked at our preliminary budget would be that the commission asked us to look at a 2.5% COLA. And so that change has been made in this budget that you're looking at now. So as we scroll down, you can see that the year-over-year change is now only just over a $7,000 difference from 2025 to 2026. Given the 3% property tax cap that happened in the legislative session and the tight budgets that the whole city and all of the departments have been requested to do, the library has kept our budget really tight as well. Almost all of our budget lines we have kept flat or reduced, with the exception of those where they had to go up because of just increases in particular contract amounts that are set to go up a specific amount every year. For example, like our lease on our space goes up 3% every year. So the budget that you see now is very conservative, and we've kept it as tight as we possibly can. I'm really proud of the work that our staff, our managers have done on this budget to keep it as conservative as we can while still making sure that we are providing the same level of services that we are providing right now and the same level of staffing. Are there any questions about the budget?
I think, well, you and I talked about this in my orientation, but wondering how many of your resources come from the state library and knowing that their IMLS funding may be diminished. Is there a plan in place for resources like Libby? Because I know that's one of the resources that comes from the state library. I know you pay some, but state library also pays a good amount for it, so.
Yeah. So we pay, I believe it's $4,000 a month towards the state consortium. And then we have a decent sized budgeted amount that goes towards our own collection as well, that we share with our residents. And yeah, there's a good amount of digital resources that we get from the state outside of Libby. As of now, the state librarian is saying that the IMLS, so that's the Institute of Museum and Library Services funding that the state library gets from the federal government The amount that has been promised is coming. So, but if that were to change, that's a third of the state library's budget, and most of that does go to their collections, and so that there would be an impact there. We would have to make some choices then at that point, and I can't say what those choices would be yet, so. Yeah. So we haven't had that discussion quite yet.
I was just curious if it also would affect some of the programming that you do.
When you look at where our revenues come from, we get around $45,000 a year from the state in state aid. The rest of the budget comes from the residents of West Fargo. And if you look at what our budget has been, that's well over $2 million. And so I think that we would be safe. We wouldn't have to make significant cuts as long as our property tax dollars coming from West Fargo residents remain stable.
I'm sitting here thinking, I must have known this once upon a time, but is the state library's state aid money coming from the feds? Do you know?
I don't know the intricacies of the state library budget
Okay.
that well yet.
Is there some serious ramifications that could go on if they have a couple of hiccups there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenna, this is Tyler, and Mr. Chair, thank you. No, I'm not going to throw you any hard balls here. I'm just basic questions. Health insurance. How in the world are we cutting 70 grand off health insurance next year? Are we switching to a high deductible health plan?
No. So the city has worked very hard in the last year at doing a better job at budgeting for health insurance to get closer to the real dollars that we will actually be spending. And so I've worked with the finance department over the last several months to look at what we're actually spending right now and what we're expecting to happen in the lives of current staff members to project out with a greater level of accuracy on what those expenses are going to be. I know that HR has worked too on projecting out what those increases are going to be in benefits packages for folks as well. And so I think what you're actually seeing there is probably just a greater level of accuracy in what those numbers are going to be.
Well, congratulations. That's great. That is great. Being able to find those savings for next year. My only other question was, for me, just coming in brand new, whether it just in my experience, it's always nice to have comparables. And not saying that anything in here is good or bad, but just, and it might be maybe a better question for the city commission, but just comparable, population wise, volume for the services provided for the residents, for the feet, that you track through the library. Is this budget, like size or right size for the services provided based on the population? And it's really, not a question for now, but, as the budget process comes up, at least for my knowledge, that would be kind of just a helpful data point to look at and see, what is West Fargo at right now? 40,000? Am I way off with that?
42.
I'm trying to think what another 42,000 city I mean, maybe Williston. That's the only one that I can think of top of mind. 35 to 40,000. If this 2.6 is around what is budgeted, but just some food for thought as we go along. I just think maybe it would be helpful to know that just where we are in the standings, and maybe the state library tracks those figures. I'm not sure, but
We did some work a year ago with our space needs assessment that took a look at some of that information, both regionally and nationally, with comparables on like collection size, space, and things of that nature. So we could take a look at some of that together.
Cool. That sounds great. Well, congrats on the 70 grand cut in health insurance, and looks good to me. Looks good to me. I guess the only other thing that I had a question, thank you, Mr. Chair, is the timeline. Forgive me for not knowing. When does this, the final approval get put on our budget?
That's a great question. So on July 21st is the next time that the city commission is going to take a look at the city's preliminary budget. And then there will be a series of more looks after that. There will be a few tweaks. Really, I think what you want to know is when is this going to be finalized? And that is the beginning of October is when the city will be finalizing their budget. It's possible it could be finalized before that. I want to tell you, I'm really proud of the work that the city has done this year. All of the department heads, the finance team, they've just really done incredible work coming together on this year. And so I think it is possible it could be done a little earlier. That said, October 5th, 7th is legally when the budget needs to be finalized. So that's when we will know for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm just going to write that down so I know when the pressure's on for everything. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any final questions, board?
Sounds like you took it away.
All right. So certainly, as the commission continues to meet and have discussions, if there are additional changes, depending on what we're hearing back, if there are additional asks of us, and when they finalize their preliminary budget, I'll continue to bring more updates to you and let you know what we are hearing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that brings us down to the last item, what I think is the last item now, nomination of officers and voting. Is that correct? Oop. Sorry, that was only budget. Thank you. Well, you don't get out of that easily.
You want to do director's report is where you would like to go next?
Yes, and director's report is next, sorry. But that's always a good one. Some good graphics usually.
All right, so as far as our finances go, again, we are still right on track. We're 47% expended for the year. I mentioned this earlier, our state aid payments. These come from the state library. We just received ours in June, and our payments this year were just under $45,000. This is very typical. There's a formula that the state uses to determine what those payments are, and it is based on our population served and what the mill levy was for the fiscal year. So They take that mill levy number, and then there's a calculation. Oops. I had a really lovely patron story that I wanted to share with you. When I was working at the circulation desk, a mom came in with a literal wagon full of small children, and they were checking out a huge stack of books. They did reach their checkout limit, but they had just returned a few books as well. So as we were quickly checking in some of the books that they had returned so that they could finish checking out those that they had picked out, we were visiting. And the mom was sharing how it's really fun to see on the bottom of the receipt how much money they've saved over time by using the library. So once we finished the checkout and we're handing the stacks of books to the kids in the wagon, she noticed that she's saved over $21,000 by using the library and checking out all of those books with her kids. That's just incredible. So
Maybe she'll ask for payment.
when I think about the value that the library brings to families in our community, I think that's just a really wonderful, poignant story. If they were going to Barnes and Noble to buy books and stock their home with books, that's cost prohibitive for so many families, particularly a family with a large amount of children who are voracious readers. And so, yeah, what a benefit the library brings. Just a highlight for our satellite library as well. Physical circulation here has really shot up in the last month. 864 items were checked out. Our door count is at 479, and we've made 6 library cards at the satellite in June.
Do you have any idea as how much of that is coming from outside the building and how much from inside?
No,
Well, must-
we're not,
Must get a lot of staff traffic, but
we're not tracking
I
that.
hope from outside too.
I can tell you anecdotally, we know that city staff have really loved using the library here. But there are, I was here all day actually, working at the satellite, and there were a couple city staff members that came in with their, I saw one city staff member came in today with one of their children, but everybody else was just community members that came in with their families. Lots of families with children came in today. At our main library, physical circulation was over 16,000, door count 6,729, and we made 371 library cards. I've said this many times, but we had our highest circulation to date, beating last June's record, so nearly 25,000 for our total circulation. I've said this before too, West Fargo really is a community of readers and lifelong learners. I mentioned our space needs assessment earlier in this meeting, and I think that is maybe not the right title for the assessment that we did. Yes, it was about space needs, but it was also just an assessment of our collection and services and all of the things that we are providing our community, the number of seats that we have in our spaces, for example. And one of the things that we learned in that assessment is that we are underserving our community by about 50% as far as space, collection, pretty much in every metric. So it's really lovely to see that despite the challenges that we have, our circulation continues to go up. Our staff have been very creative in responding to those challenges And we're seeing good results. Our door count went up in June as well, and the satellite really contributed to that. A couple months ago, I told the board that our off-site book drop usage at Cashwise was down, and that maybe we were going to think about moving that book drop somewhere else. Well, guess what? It suddenly went right back up, and it's super popular again, so never mind. It's been hugely popular again in June. And maybe that's part of just the summer months and the increase in circulation, particularly with kids being in the out-of-school time. So. We talk about the circulation of books a lot, but I wanted to highlight some other things that have been super popular this summer as well. Some non-traditional items that have been checked out a ton this summer include hotspots, launch pads, which are tablets that are preloaded with educational games and activities. And these are for all ages and even English language learners. So those are just a really great resource that we have as well. And don't forget the state park passes. If your family is looking for a fun trip, that's a really great trip idea. It removes a cost barrier for a lot of folks to go check out a state park. Youth programming, of course, is super, super popular in the summer. We continue to see crowds for our Tuesday Crafts for Kids at 2:30. We're no longer using the gym for this. We've returned to using our meeting rooms, but they are definitely full and busy. We had a Pokemon Crafts for Teens event that was very popular. They made plant pots with Pokemon characters on them. And we've had Thursday STEM programs that have had a really great turnout as well. There's some pictures on here from a color theory program that they did recently. A favorite adult program we just had was an escape room about an art heist. Really incredible feedback from the community about that program. Patrons loved it. And it's really fun for the staff to put together and run as well. Our outreach services, including our summer interns, they have been so busy out in the community. We hardly see them. They are just in and out and in and out. The Library on Wheels, that's our new van that replaced the Little Red Reading Bus. They are in Maplewood Park, Dakota Park, and Goldenwood Park regularly all through June and July. We are also at Aurora, Eastwood, and Willow Park Elementary Schools. And then there's other like pop-up stops in other places as well.
Do you also make library cards at these outreach services?
Yes.
Has the new van assisted you greatly, or?
The new van is amazing. When we put in the specialty shelving that has like library carts that we can roll on and then like click into place, number one, this has significantly reduced staff injuries with the ramp. And we're not like lifting big heavy crates over bus seats and then trying to load them, as you can imagine. Tyler, who just threw out your back. that was a significant problem for staff members. And so having a van that's meant to load and unload heavy materials and having the proper equipment has made a huge difference. Also, for our patrons that are coming to browse the materials, having them on a cart with like browsable shelves has allowed us to increase the amount of materials that we're bringing to these locations and to have them displayed in a way that's like more natural for you to want to explore. And so, yeah, it's been a win-win for everybody. So, yeah, shout out to First International Bank for that donation. That's been a game changer for us. Our technical services team is engaged in this amazing project to add the series information to the children's chapter book spine labels. This is going to be so wonderful for families to be able to see that series information on that spine label and help figure out what goes with what series. It's going to take some doing, but they're working their way through it. They're also doing an evaluation of nonfiction to identify any gaps in the collection to see what we're missing. Just kind of routine stuff there. And with that, any other questions? Also attached board is the June monthly impact report. This is an example of a wonderful report put together by Ellen, our communications and marketing specialist. Earlier in this meeting, you saw that really awesome slide that Sarah and I showed you about that policy 101 and all of the different policies and how that flow was going to work. Ellen made that slide look beautiful and understandable. This is an example of the awesome communications work that she does for us. So that impact report is attached in all of our board packets. I don't usually go through that at these meetings. It's just kind of for your information, and then I highlight pieces of that in my director's report.
And thank you for that slide once again.
Yeah.
Earlier on, that was very good. That helped a lot. Okay, is that it? Are you done?
That's it.
Have you had enough?
Mr. Chair, this is Tyler. Pardon me, just, can I interrupt just for 1 second?
You're on.
Okay. I didn't see in any other matters agenda item. Is it okay to bring up one thing at the end of the agenda here? How do we feel about that?
I don't,
Bring up what?
like basically a new agenda item?
Non-agenda.
Well,
Not an agenda item, I don't think we could do that.
it is tangentially related to the budget.
Okay.
Any thoughts on that?
What is it? And we can see if we have to take it or defer it.
Okay. And so I talked with Jenna a little bit about this, everybody, board members. Going through the library board materials and everything, we are a board of trustees. And right, not to overcomplicate things, but just to get clarity on what we do as the board. As a board of trustees, we're fiduciaries for somebody or something, for another entity or for individuals. And to get clarity moving forward, at least for my benefit, I think it would be helpful. I've served on other fiduciary boards before, to have at least on once a year, a 20-minute, a 10-minute, a 5-minute, whatever we want, legal presentation from our council informing us or any new board members as to what our clear mission is and who are the beneficiaries of our work. Is it the library itself? Is it the patrons of the library? Is it the city commission? Just having that clarity with every decision that we make. And that could just be me as a new guy coming in, and maybe that's too complicated. Maybe we don't need to go into that much detail, but I think it would be helpful just to know with some clarity every decision we make, what we're making who we're making the decision on behalf of. So just wanted to throw that out to everybody and see if anybody had any thoughts, and the way that that's related to the budget is whether that could be incorporated or if that 20-minute, 10, 15-minute presentation and a little bit of legal work could be included in that piece of the budget.
I would say that we usually do additional board orientation and training, and inclusive of that would be like an open meeting law training that the city attorney would provide, and so we could ask that that be included in that.
I should perhaps add that we're really, I guess, primarily dealing with policy and less financials, the way I would see it. But her idea for a review, I guess, makes sense to me. Duly noted.
That sounds great. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Are we on to
Officers.
officers? And this is an area where it's like, we're kind of beyond where the president fell off. And how do we proceed? I don't know that I remember that I ever knew.
This has been handled differently over the years, so you can do it kind of however you want. At the end of the day, what we're looking for is nomination and election of officers for president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. That's what's called for in the bylaws of the library board. So I
Okay.
have pulled those up on the screen for you here.
Oh, okay. And knowing, maybe, I don't know if I'm out of order or not, but knowing her work from my few years on the board, here, I'd like to nominate Leanne Hansen as president.
I would mention to the rest of the board, I did discuss this with Tony ahead of the meeting. When Leanne notified me that she was not able to attend this evening, I did ask her if she was interested in any of the positions. And she said she was willing to serve in any of the roles that the rest of the board saw fit to have her fill.
Thank you for that background. Do we have any other nominations? Or should we do them, I presume, one at a time?
I would
I'll
recommend
second
one at
the
a time.
motion.
I hear a second. Any further discussion or any further nominations? Hearing none, can we make it a unanimous vote?
I think I would still call for the vote.
Yes.
Calling for the
yes.
vote,
Sorry.
aye.
Yes, if. Jason, or not Jason? Tyler?
Yeah, are we doing roll call, or are we doing just ayes or nays, or?
Ayes would be fine.
Okay,
To
well,
confirm?
I second it. I will give you an aye.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a president? I believe.
Sounds like it.
Okay.
So according to Robert's Rules of Order, and my reading, that particular role does not take effect until notification of that person. So Tony, you will remain as acting president until Leanne is notified.
Okay. Is this,
Or
All right.
maybe until somebody else is vice president, then they would be acting president.
and do we go down the list then and do a nomination for vice president? There's only 4 of us here.
Yes, let's do it.
This is Tyler, Mr. Acting Vice President, or Mr. Acting President. I will nominate Commissioner Robin Anderson as Vice President, if he would want that.
Is that a slot a commissioner can fill? I don't know.
We have not had a commissioner fill any of the officers in the past.
But there's nothing in the bylaws to preclude that.
Ah,
I would be willing if the vote goes that way.
we can try it out. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. We move for a vote.
Did we have a second?
Did we get a
You needed a
second?
second.
Oops.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you. How do we vote? Just by yes? Those who approve, say aye.
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 We have a new vice president. Where are we at in the list? Treasurer. Okay. And just to clarify, the secretarial role is really filled by a staff member who's taking notes, right? Just to confirm what I remember.
Yes, so Alicia and Ellen both work together on the minutes.
Okay.
And then the secretary approves the minutes?
The last
Is that what we've been
few
doing?
times it has been the vice president has taken on both the secretary and vice president.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not how it has to be necessarily.
So at this point, are we still needing to do a treasurer? I think that's the one remaining one we have. Do we have any nominations for treasurer?
Mr. Acting President.
Yes.
I will, if, just to move it along, feel free to not want to do it. I would nominate you, Tony, to do the treasurer.
Thank you.
You can counter if you want, if you don't want to do it, or whatever you'd like to do.
No, I would be willing. Are there any other nominations? This is awkward with only 4.
I'll second the nomination for treasurer.
Okay. And you have a vote of aye for Tony as president, or as treasurer? Or not?
You calling for a vote?
Yes, I'm calling for a vote. I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Hey,
we have a new treasurer. And I think then that sums up what we need to do. Is that right?
Is your intention to have the secretary and vice president duties rolled together again?
Yes, I think so. I appreciate that your staff handles the actual taking of the minutes. And it certainly gives a kind of a cross-check for them to check in with the vice president to deal with that. So I appreciate that very much. Is there anything else we need to transact?
Email addresses,
Pardon me?
email addresses.
Oh, yeah, that gets swapped around. Do I need to communicate something to the city to make that happen, or?
I can handle the help ticket. So for our new board members, what's happened in the past is our library board members have an email address, for example, libraryboardpresident@westfargond.gov. And years ago, a decision was made that that email address would follow the role rather than the person. If the board would like to do something different, we certainly can do something different. The idea at that time was that then the old emails would stay, with the role. So if there was, anyway, the information would stay with that role. Certainly, because of Freedom of Information Act requirements, the city does retain emails for at least 6 months. It might be a little longer anyway. And so should a board member want to access old emails, those would be available anyway. So if you did decide you wanted to do something different, you don't need to worry about something being lost. So I would like direction from the board on if you want me to instruct IT to transfer the email address from the previous position holder directly to you, or to start fresh, or do you want it to be your name, or what you would like to do there?
I will take any comments from anyone who has
For Commissioner
something that might work, but
Anderson, this could be complicated because then you would have 2 email addresses.
yeah. But I'm assuming we would follow what we've been doing. I don't know that as far as I know, there's not a lot of email traffic to get lost or confused, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, that's the way I think we should go with it. And because we've only been doing this 2, 3 years, 2 years, not very long. So we don't have a lot of history to find out kind of what's happening. Would you have 2 email addresses then?
Sounds like I would, or at least we'd have
You would have
whatever that position would route to.
library board vice
Unless they
my
president.
city
can, yeah,
one.
do that.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
A new email address would need to be created because we're going to have 2 library board members that aren't holding roles. So perhaps
Oh.
Robin's vice president one could be transferred to, I don't know, Sarah?
Isn't there one called library board member?
There's one that's library
Yeah.
member.
2 board members that aren't filling roles.
I think that might make sense to do that. And then, because right now, I think the link for email to contact me is just my city email address. So if we were to just have that, and then if we were able to change an alias or something, and then transfer it to somehow.
I think I would
It sounds like a problem for AT.
exactly, I'd recommend you get their best recommendation for exactly how to do that without confusing everyone. It worked well the last time, but that was only the first time. And these things might fall apart with experience or not.
I think our HR director might have
Idea?
an idea, yes.
So is your intent to take the actual inbox, just the box, pretending it's a real box, and give that to board member Sarah? Or are you talking, you want to make the vice president email hers? And those are 2 different things.
The way I understand it was working is it it moved the box to the new person with that box's address.
Right.
How it works for,
What you
I'm
could
not sure
do-
what your options are then.
What you could do, and what we have done for various reasons for other departments then, is ask IT to create an alias email that could be, Board Member Sarah, I don't care what you guys name it, you can decide that. And they would lay it over top of the Vice President box. That way, you don't have to create a brand-new box.
Okay.
That history is still retained, even if in the future she changes positions, and the alias can be removed should the vice president change at any point.
But the box stays there.
Yes.
So, okay,
you're not
that's-
looking for a new email to be created, you're looking for an alias to be
Yep.
created.
Yep,
That might be your easiest and best option for going forward, and
that's
that's
what
easy after
makes
the-
sense, because my understanding was the concept was to retain the contents of the box and move it to the next person, however that happens, or move the alias to the next person.
Yes.
Sure.
The only thing I would add is just to maybe recommend for Commissioner Anderson that if it is a library issue, that he forward it maybe to Board Member Sarah so that it's still retained and it's not caught up in his commission.
Well, yeah, it
Email.
shouldn't do that, and I would hope you'd be driven crazy if that started happening, so you do whatever is necessary to put a stop to it.
And you then, Commissioner Anderson, could ask for an additional alias that you could reply from, so it would look like it came from
Right.
the vice president, but it in fact would not be linked to that box.
Yep.
Yeah. All of those details kind of got to get worked out somehow, so I would appreciate it if,
Yeah.
yeah, you'd handle that.
I
can
have a
help you.
meeting with Hyder next week.
Okay,
We'll work on it.
Okay.
okay.
Great.
Anyway, it doesn't sound hard, but there's
It
usually
is.
more to it than that, so.
Yeah.
I
So
appreciate that.
my understanding is the board's wishes are, we want to retain the contents, and we'll work out the rest of the logistics. Okay. Right.
And, yeah, so I presume I'll be, I don't know what'll happen to me. I mean, I'll have a new alias. Maybe it's an alias, maybe it's not. But anyway, that's part of the package.
Yeah, so once we have a plan worked out with IT, IT will reach out to you and work out the login credentials.
Okay,
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
This will be a project. It'll be like interesting to see. Maybe by the next time around, we'll get there.
yep.
Okay,
Should happen pretty quickly.
I believe we are out of content for the night. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
We have, and can we vote for adjourning? And I vote for.
Aye.
Aye. I guess we are adjourned.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Bye.